My boyfriend tried coax my roommate into having sex with him. I feel like my entire world has been turned upside down. I'm writing this in the middle of a rough patch, trying to make sense of everything that's happened. There's a lot to unpack, so please bear with me. I'm a 21-year-old junior at a mid-sized college. My boyfriend Ben is 22 and attends a state school about 2 hours away from where I study. He visits often enough that we've kept our long-distance relationship going for the past 2 years. We met through mutual friends, and for the longest time, I thought Ben was not just my boyfriend, but also my best friend. I loved the bond we had, the way we laughed and supported each other. I never imagined this would be how things ended. I live in an apartment with 3 roommates. My best friend Alex shares the space with me, along with 2 other girls, Anne and Sam. Anne and Sam are close friends who were assigned to our apartment through university housing. Over time, all 4 of us grew pretty tight, and it felt like we had a solid friendship as a group. This past weekend, Alex and Anne went home, leaving just Sam and me in the apartment. Ben came over Friday after his classes, and we spent the day together. Later, we attended a social event hosted by my sorority, but we left early because Ben said he was tired. A little background on Sam. She's in the Army, incredibly fit, and stunningly beautiful. She has an air of confidence and strength that's hard not to admire, along with an impressive collection of tattoos. Sometimes, Sam would join Ben and me in the living room when we were hanging out. I had noticed Ben glancing at her a few times, but I brushed it off as harmless and didn't think much of it. That Friday night, Sam went to bed early since she had to be up at the crack of dawn for drill on Saturday. Ben and I went to bed shortly after getting home from the event. Not long after, I got a text from one of the younger sisters in my sorority. She said there was an emergency at her dorm and that I needed to come immediately. I asked Ben if he wanted to come help, but he said he was too tired and would stay back at the apartment. I didn't think much of it and left assuming he just wanted to get some rest. When I arrived at the dorm, I found one of the girls unresponsive from drinking too much at the event. Her roommate was trying to help her throw up, but it wasn't enough. We called the resident advisor, RA, who quickly took charge and decided to drive the girl to urgent care. I told the RA I'd meet them there after stopping by my apartment to grab my car keys and a coat. What I walked into at my apartment will haunt me for a long time. When I opened the door, I saw Ben standing in the doorway of Sam's room, wearing nothing but his boxers. Sam was sitting on the floor, crying. My heart sank. I demanded to know what was going on. Through her tears, Sam told me that Ben had entered her room while she was sleeping and tried to convince her to have sex with him. I felt a wave of anger and heartbreak hit me all at once. As Sam explained what happened, Ben just stood there silently. He didn't offer an excuse or even try to deny it. His lack of response made my decision easy. I told him to pack his things and leave immediately. I didn't want him in my apartment for another second. After Ben left, I turned my attention to Sam. I asked her if there was anything I could do to help or make her feel safer, but she said she just needed to sleep since she had an early morning ahead. I didn't want to leave her, but I also didn't want to push her if she needed space. So I went to urgent care to check on the girl from my sorority. The girl turned out to be okay and was discharged later that morning. She'll have to deal with the sorority council about her behavior at the event, but at least she's physically fine. Now, I'm left trying to pick up the pieces of everything that's been broken. I'm furious with Ben for betraying me and traumatizing Sam. I'm heartbroken that someone I trusted so deeply could do something so horrible. And I'm worried about Sam. I can't imagine how she's feeling after what happened, and I don't want her to feel uncomfortable or unsafe around me. I don't know how to approach her. I'm scared she might resent me because of what Ben did, even though I know it wasn't my fault. I feel an overwhelming mix of guilt, sadness, and anger. Right now, I feel completely hopeless. I have no idea how to move forward or how to fix the damage that's been done. When Sam didn't come home Sunday night, I was worried but understood why she needed space. She stayed at a friend's place through Monday, taking a mental health day to recover after the emotionally exhausting weekend and the physically demanding drill she'd completed. She also needed proper rest before facing everything waiting for her back at the apartment. By the time Sam returned, she had already come up with a plan. She'd spoken to an NCO in her Army unit and felt ready to take the next steps. When she walked through the door, we sat down together and talked. There were moments when words failed us, and we just cried or sat silently, letting the weight of everything finally settle. For everyone asking if Ben, my ex, had been physically forceful with her, no, he wasn't. The only time he touched Sam was when she tried to push him away. Apparently, he reacted by trying to push her hands aside, possibly thinking she might hit him. From what we've pieced together, it seems he was completely blindsided when Sam refused to sleep with him. He had convinced himself his disgusting plan would go off without a hitch. Sam decided against reporting him to the police. She explained that her main priority was to maintain some level of anonymity, which the university could provide. As someone aspiring to attend officer candidate school after graduation, she didn't want anything to jeopardize her future chances. Dealing with potential public scrutiny or backlash from a police report was a risk she wasn't willing to take. On Tuesday, we went to the university's Title IX office together. As soon as we explained the situation, the staff acted quickly and brought us in to meet with a coordinator. Most of the conversation happened privately between Sam and the coordinator, but when she came out, she seemed relieved. The coordinator assured us that steps would be taken immediately. Ben would be banned from our campus, effective right away. Furthermore, she mentioned she would contact his university to inform them of his actions and recommend disciplinary measures. If his school treated this seriously, he could face suspension, removal from his engineering fraternity, or even a semester-long suspension. Sam was satisfied with this outcome. She didn't want to waste any more time or energy on Ben. She just wanted him out of our lives for good. The experience hasn't driven a wedge between us as roommates. If anything, it has brought us closer together. We've even made plans to move out of our current quad apartment at the end of the year. Anne and Sam will share a double, and Alex and I will do the same. As for Ben, I've cut him off completely. I've blocked him on every platform and haven't reached out since the moment I told him to leave my apartment. I'm done with him and ready to move forward. However, before closing this chapter, I decided to take one final step. I sent a message to Ben's parents on Facebook. I laid everything out in detail, explaining what he had done and why they wouldn't be seeing me at Thanksgiving this year. The message was read, but they never replied. Even though they didn't respond, I don't regret sending it. It was important to me that they knew the truth about their son. Now I'm ready to focus on myself and the people who genuinely care about me. To everyone who offered support and advice through this ordeal, thank you. Your kindness has meant more than I can say. Here's to starting fresh and leaving all this behind. Now on to the next story. My cousin asked my daughter to perform at her wedding reception, but became bitter upon seeing the positive reception to her act. I hope it's okay to share this here. I'm posting because my daughter, Mia, 16, has been deeply hurt after a recent performance, and I'm at a loss for how to help her. I apologize in advance for the length of this post, but I'm seeking advice from others who might understand what she's going through. Any insights from fellow aerialists would be greatly appreciated. 2 weeks ago, my cousin Mia got married, and she asked if my daughter could perform at her wedding reception. Mia has been practicing aerial silks and lyra for several years at a nearby circus studio. She's even performed at small gigs through the studio and hopes to one day teach professionally. It's her dream, but this recent experience has really shaken her confidence. Mia has a private Instagram where she documents her progress and performances, while I occasionally share highlights, like her first gig or recital, on my own social media. Some of our extended family members have seen her performances through my posts. A few years ago, when we hosted Christmas at our house, some of our relatives even coordinated arriving early just so they could attend her studio's holiday recital. Mia was so touched and said it was the loudest cheering section she'd ever had. My cousin Emily was one of the relatives who came to that recital, and she's always been supportive of Mia's work. When Emily got engaged, she asked if Mia would perform at her wedding reception. Naturally, I asked Mia on her behalf, and Mia was thrilled about the idea. We already owned a portable rig, but since the venue had higher ceilings, we rented a taller one from her studio. Emily had been inspired by a YouTube video of an aerialist performing at a wedding and requested white silks and a white costume for Mia's performance. We went all out to make it perfect. Emily approved the costume from a selection of links we sent her, and Mia worked hard to create a beautiful routine to a song Emily had chosen. She even sought help from one of her coaches to make it extra special. Emily insisted on paying Mia for her performance, and although Mia didn't expect any payment, Emily gave her a few $100s as a gesture of appreciation. Everything seemed perfect. Until it wasn't. The performance itself was a hit. Mia received a standing ovation that left her surprised and emotional. But just a few days later, Emily made a hurtful Facebook post. In it, she claimed that Mia wore white despite being explicitly told not to, and accused us, her parents, of pressuring her into the performance. She even described the performance as unclassy, which left us shocked and confused. We had text messages proving that Emily had approved the costume and the entire arrangement. Furthermore, Emily had cheered loudly for Mia during the performance, so her post felt like a complete betrayal. The post had comments disabled, which only added to the frustration. When I tried calling Emily to address the lies, she didn't answer. Feeling helpless, I reached out to her parents, who had also been notified about the post. They were disgusted by her behavior and apologized to Mia on Emily's behalf. Emily's mother revealed that Emily had confessed to feeling upstaged by Mia's performance. She regretted inviting Mia after seeing how much attention she received, particularly the compliments and cheers. Emily's parents assured us they'd try to talk some sense into her, but Emily refused to answer their calls after a heated conversation. It's been deeply upsetting for everyone involved, but our focus remains on Mia. Since the incident, Mia has been a shadow of her former self. She hasn't practiced aerial at home or at the studio, and she's asked me to return the white silks and costume that she was so excited about just weeks ago. She's also taken a break from spending time with her non-aerial friends, choosing instead to isolate herself. She's even mentioned reconsidering whether she wants to continue aerial at all, which breaks my heart because it's something she's so passionate about. We've done our best to remind Mia of how proud we are of her and how much her performance meant to everyone there, but she's asked us not to talk about it for now. She's requested space, and we're respecting that, hoping time will help her heal. Still, I can see how much this has hurt her, and I'm worried it will take away the joy she once felt for something she loves so much. I'm reaching out here in hopes that others who've faced similar challenges can offer advice. How do we help Mia rebuild her confidence and find her passion again? Any suggestions for lifting her spirits would mean the world to us. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this. Update. Before I dive into everything that's happened since my last post, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who offered their thoughts and advice. 2 specific suggestions stood out to us, and I'll address those shortly. First, an update. Mia's Facebook post about Emily has been taken down. Whether she deleted it herself or it was removed after being reported by enough people, I can't say for sure. Regardless, we're relieved it's gone. Unfortunately, Mia has neither apologized to Emily nor reached out to us. Her silence has solidified our decision to distance ourselves from her permanently. After much consideration, my husband and I decided to address the situation publicly. We made a post on my Facebook account countering the lies Mia spread about our daughter. In the post, we shared screenshots of the text messages where Mia explicitly approved Emily's white costume from the links we sent her, as well as the song she personally requested for the performance. Before posting, we asked Emily if she was okay with us speaking up on her behalf, and she said she was. Normally, I'd steer clear of using social media to air out conflicts, but this situation felt different. Mia's public attack on a 16-year-old warranted a response, not just to set the record straight, but to show Emily that her parents will always stand up for her when it matters. To our surprise, Mia's mother reshared our post on her own account, adding her own disapproval of Mia's actions. She wrote about how much she and her husband loved Emily's performance and how appalled they were by their daughter's behavior. This was unexpected, but very much appreciated. I also had the chance to speak with Mia's mom again over the phone. She told me she had another conversation with Mia since our last discussion. And Mia doubled down on her regret about asking Emily to perform. What really seemed to bother Mia, according to her mother, was the standing ovation Emily received after her act. Mia confessed that she expected Emily to get polite applause at best, but the overwhelming response from the audience, which included loud cheers and a standing ovation, left her feeling overshadowed. Mia admitted she had anticipated that the most enthusiastic reception of the night would be when she and her husband entered the reception. While they did receive plenty of applause and cheers, Emily's performance drew even more attention, and it caught Mia off guard. Even Emily was surprised by the audience's reaction. She'd never received a standing ovation for a solo performance before, and was genuinely touched by the support. It's heartbreaking that what should have been a moment of pride for her turned into something hurtful because of Mia's jealousy. Mia's mother suggested that if Emily's performance had been a different talent, like singing, and received the same level of praise, Mia's reaction would likely have been the same. One piece of advice we received from a commenter was to consider therapy for Emily. The suggestion really resonated with us because the cruel nature of Mia's comments could be deeply damaging, especially for a teenager. When we brought up the idea to Emily, she said she'd be open to it, but only with a therapist outside of school. She doesn't want anyone at her school or aerial studio to know about the incident, and she's only vaguely mentioned to her choreographer, coach, that the performance went fine. We completely respect her decision to keep this private, and will support her in finding a therapist if she decides she's ready. Another commenter suggested exploring whether someone at the reception, possibly Mia's husband or a guest, had said something inappropriate to Emily that might explain her withdrawal. When my husband gently asked her about this, Emily firmly said no. Of course, if something did happen, she might feel more comfortable sharing it with a therapist in the future. But for now, we believe her. On a slightly brighter note, Emily has expressed interest in trying a new aerial studio. She doesn't want to return to her current one just yet because she's worried about facing questions about how the wedding performance went or being asked to share a video of it. While we hope she doesn't leave her home studio permanently, she has close friends and supportive coaches there, we understand her need for a fresh start. Sometimes a change of scenery can make all the difference. If she decides to go to a new studio, we'll fully support her. For now, Emily has decided to take an extended break from aerial altogether. She's even said she might never perform again, preferring instead to practice casually if she continues. This breaks my heart because she's so talented and has always loved performing. She's also asked us to let her troupe coach know, if it comes to that she won't be performing with them anymore. While we hope she'll change her mind with time, we will honor her wishes if that's what she truly wants. In the meantime, we're focusing on giving Emily the space she's asked for, while reminding her that we're here whenever she needs us. We're hopeful that time will heal this wound and that one day she'll feel ready to return to the aerial work she loves so much. That's all for now for our family of origin. I'm Jen Sweeney, and this is Cutting the Curd. This will be my final update, and before I begin, I want to thank everyone who shared their advice and support. It's been an emotional journey, but your insights have truly made a difference. In my last update, I mentioned that Emily was open to talking to a professional therapist, provided they weren't affiliated with her school. While we were fully on board with this plan, Emily had a change of heart shortly after. Instead, she decided she wanted to open up to her coach, someone she had been avoiding since the reception and had only been vaguely responding to about how the performance went. Her coach, who worked closely with Emily to choreograph the act for Mia's wedding, had volunteered her time without charging for the sessions. Beyond that, she's a key member of the Circus Studios performing troupe and has always been a pillar of support for Emily. We encouraged Emily's decision to speak with her coach, and they ended up having an in-person conversation. Following that discussion, her coach suggested that Emily talk to me about what had been weighing on her. Emily agreed, but requested to speak with me alone before we involved my husband. Respecting her wishes, we had a heartfelt and private discussion. During our conversation, Emily revealed something deeply upsetting. The day after the wedding reception, Mia sent a private message to Emily's personal Instagram account, not the private circus account where she typically communicates with others. The message Mia sent was not only bitter, but also shockingly cruel. She called Emily derogatory and inappropriate names, including terms that were sexual in nature. My husband and I were, and still are, livid. Emily explained that she was blindsided by the message because up until that point, Mia had always appeared to be supportive of her passion for aerial arts. Mia even gave Emily a standing ovation at the wedding, though in hindsight, Emily believes she only did so because everyone else was standing. In the message, Mia claimed that the standing ovation Emily received wasn't genuine. According to Mia, the applause came solely from biased family members who supposedly couldn't distinguish between a talented aerialist and a mediocre one. Understandably, Emily was deeply hurt. She told me that Mia had been one of the few relatives who made an effort to support her craft over the years. Mia had even attended Emily's Christmas recital a few years ago when we hosted an early holiday gathering, and we all went out to dinner afterward. Those memories made Mia's betrayal sting even more. Emily admitted that she initially kept this information to herself because she didn't want to cause further drama. However, after some time to process, she decided Mia deserved consequences for her actions. She asked us to inform Mia's parents about the message, especially since they had already publicly called Mia out on Facebook without even knowing about it. Emily had taken a screenshot of the message as proof, and while we agreed to share it with Mia's parents, we suggested that Emily delete it afterward to avoid holding on to such a hurtful reminder. She agreed. Despite everything, Emily is still open to speaking with a professional therapist about the lasting impact of Mia's words. We are currently in the process of finding someone who can help her navigate the emotions and self-doubt that have lingered since the performance. I cannot thank Emily's coach enough for her guidance and support. Emily's decision to confide in her coach was a turning point. The coach has also suggested fun, non-aerial activities like a day at a zipline or rope course to help Emily reconnect with her troupe in a relaxed, pressure-free environment. Emily seemed open to the idea, which is a positive step forward. As for Mia's parents, they were horrified when we shared the details of her private message. Mia's mother, in particular, was deeply apologetic and disgusted by her daughter's behavior. She assured us that she and her husband would be addressing Mia's actions and that their relationship with her would change significantly. Until Mia made a genuine apology, if not longer. She even mentioned that Mia's husband had been unhappy with her Facebook post and other complaints she'd made about the wedding. Without going into too much detail, Mia's mother confided that there are other issues in Mia's marriage, and she's not sure how long it will last. On a brighter note, Mia's parents sent Emily a thoughtful gift, a box of Sherry's berries. Emily was touched by the gesture and sent them a text to thank them. Small acts like this remind her that not everyone shares Mia's views and that she still has strong support within her family. As for Emily's future with aerial arts, it remains uncertain. She has expressed interest in trying a new apparatus to distance herself from the silks, which currently feel tainted by the experience. Whether she chooses to continue performing or pursue aerial arts recreationally, we will stand by her. Most importantly, we want her to find joy and confidence in whatever path she decides to take. Finally, I want to address some feedback we received about our decision to post on Facebook in response to Mia's lies. A few people suggested that we were just as bad as Mia for airing the drama publicly. To be clear, my husband and I rarely use Facebook for personal matters. If this had been an issue solely involving us, we would have handled it privately. However, Mia publicly disparaged a minor with false claims, and we felt compelled to defend Emily by sharing proof that Mia had approved both the costume and the song choice. We made sure Emily was comfortable with this approach before proceeding. For those who question the appropriateness of Emily's costume, I want to emphasize that it was purchased from a reputable website used by professional circus performers, including some affiliated with Cirque du Soleil. The costume has been praised and is commonly used for weddings and other formal events. Emily's outfit received numerous compliments at the reception, and it's clear that Mia's issues stem from her own insecurities, not the costume itself. This was Emily's first truly negative experience in her performing career, and while she knows Mia is to blame, the hurt is still there. We're hopeful that therapy, time, and the support of her coach and troupe will help her heal. Whatever she decides for her future, we're incredibly proud of her resilience and grace through this ordeal.